Visitors are even being told by their home countries to take their vacations and money elsewhere.
The Trump administration's policies have been bad for business.
Drop in the number of international tourists who are visiting the United States this year.
Total arrivals to the U.S. are expected to fall about 9%.
The U.S. tourism industry had been banking on a good year after the number of international visitors to the U.S. had jumped in 2024.
Visitors to the U.S. down at least 14% from a year ago.
America's tourist problem isn't coming, it's here, and the world is responding with its wallets. For decades, the United States didn't just attract visitors, it attracted dreams. That magnetic pull, the one that filled planes from Tokyo to London, from Sydney to Sao Paulo, is failing. Not slowly, not quietly, but in real time, with consequences nobody in Washington seems to grasp yet. Here's what makes this crisis unprecedented. The United States is now the only major economy among 184 countries forecast to experience declining international visitor spending in 2025. Let that sink in. Every other major destination is growing. America is shrinking. The numbers paint a catastrophic picture. After recovering to 72.4 million international visitors in 2024, almost back to pre-pandemic levels, everything reversed. March 2025 saw arrivals plummet 14% year over year. Western Europe, our biggest spender market, dropped 17.2%. Germany alone fell 28%. The projection? A $12.5 billion loss in visitor spending this year. That's not a recession, that's a collapse. But it gets worse. For the first time in years, the US is facing a massive $50 billion travel trade deficit. That means not only is the world not coming here, but Americans are taking their money and spending it overseas at a record pace.
But statistics only tell half the story. The human cost reveals the real crisis.
Take Jessica Broscha, a 29-year-old German tattoo artist with valid tourist authorization and a return ticket. Border agents detained her for 45 days. Not hours, not overnight, 45 days. 8 of those in solitary confinement at Otay Mesa Detention Center. Her crime? Traveling to America while having tattoos and an alternative appearance. Lucas Seeloff's story is equally disturbing. This 25-year-old German tourist was grabbed at the border after visiting Mexico, still 22 days inside his legal 90-day permit. A language barrier led to confusion during questioning. The result? 16 days in detention. His family scrambled to pay $2,744 for his deportation flight. The message to his friends back home? Skip America. Then there's Fabian Schmidt. Here's where it gets truly insane. Schmidt isn't even a tourist. He's a permanent resident with a valid green card, detained at Boston Logan, held at Wyatt Detention Center in Rhode Island, a legal resident treated like a criminal at the airport he's used for years. The casualties mount daily. Rebecca Burke, a 28-year-old Welsh backpacker, 19 days detained in Washington state. Jasmine Mooney, a Canadian actress renewing her work visa, 12 days locked up. 2 German teenagers landing in Hawaii for vacation, deported immediately because they hadn't booked every single night's accommodation in advance. Immigration attorney Stephen Yale Laird dropped a bombshell that explains everything. CBP has been much more vigilant, reviewing everyone's credentials since Trump took office. Translation? This isn't random, it's systematic. Pedro Rios, who's worked the border for 22 years, told the Associated Press something that should terrify every American business dependent on tourism. I've never seen travelers from Western Europe and Canada, longtime US allies, locked up like this.
Prison. What happened once you were there?
Prior to the prison, I had a cavity search conducted on my body, and then I was put in handcuffs. I asked them if I was under arrest. They said no, and then I was taken to the facility where I was to undergo another cavity search and a strip search. I was placed in prison wear, what they put the prisoners in. I was fingerprinted, all the normal inmate processing, and then I ended up in a cell overnight until I was released the next morning.
The airline industry isn't waiting for diplomatic solutions. They're fleeing. Play Airlines announced the nuclear option, complete U.S. market exit by October 2025. Every route canceled. Stewart, Boston Logan, Baltimore Washington International, all abandoned. Their CEO's explanation was brutally honest. The North American market was less successful. Translation? Their customers don't want to risk American detention. Condor Airlines eliminated 6 North American routes overnight. Baltimore, Minneapolis, Phoenix, San Antonio, gone. The German federal court ruling that killed their feeder traffic was just the excuse. The real reason?
German tourists aren't booking America anymore. WestJet's numbers are apocalyptic. 9 U.S. routes suspended, bookings down 70% through September 2025. Their executives explicitly blamed U.S. President Donald Trump's trade tariffs and the resulting collapse in Canadian travel demand. When airlines start naming presidents in their route cancellation announcements, you know it's personal. Air Canada followed suit. 5 cross-border routes axed for winter 2025-26. Toronto-Detroit, dead. Montreal-Indianapolis, gone. These aren't far-flung destinations. These are neighbor cities, connected for generations, now severed. The European exodus accelerates weekly. KLM cutting routes. British Airways reducing capacity. Air France pulling back. Lufthansa restructuring away from America. Norse Atlantic tells the most damning story. They've eliminated half of the 24 U.S. routes they launched since 2022. 50% failure rate in 3 years. Secondary American cities are becoming aviation ghost towns. Baltimore-Washington International has lost 7 airlines in recent years. Minneapolis-St. Paul watched European carriers vanish one by one. These airports built international terminals for growth that's now reversing at breakneck speed. The economic devastation spreads like cancer through American tourism hubs. International visitors spend 8 times more than domestic travelers, averaging $4,000 per trip. They stay in luxury hotels, eat at expensive restaurants, buy premium experiences. When they vanish, entire economic ecosystems collapse. Hotel profitability has already crashed from 43% to 32% of properties. That's thousands of hotels sliding toward bankruptcy. New York, despite being America's gateway, reports international visitor drops approaching 20%. Los Angeles watches Asian tourism evaporate. Miami's South American connections wither. San Francisco's tech conference circuit shrinks as international attendees choose virtual participation over detention risk. Smaller cities face extinction-level events. Flagstaff, Arizona, once thriving on international tourist dollars, has completely abandoned international marketing. They've accepted their new reality, Americans only. Sedona, Jackson Hole, Aspen, all report similar pivots. The message? International money is gone. Adapt or die. The U.S. Travel Association tries damage control, admitting they're working with Customs and Border Protection on, quote, perception issues about entering the U.S. But this isn't perception, it's reality, documented in government warnings, airline schedules, and detention statistics. This isn't just about perception, it's a measurable collapse in reputation. A 2025 global index measuring national influence delivered a shocking verdict. While the U.S. still ranks high in economic power, for the attribute of being, quote, friendly, it now ranks a dismal 124th in the world. Brand USA, the official tourism marketing organization, scrambles with emergency campaigns. But how do you market a destination when allied governments officially warn against visiting? When viral detention stories appear weekly? When airlines literally flee your airports? The National Travel and Tourism Office lives in fantasy land. They're still projecting 77.1 million visitors for 2025 and 85 million for 2026. Current trends suggest they'll miss by tens of millions. These aren't forecasts anymore. They're delusions. Tourism economics and Oxford Economics, the serious number crunchers, paint the real picture. Overall 8.7% decline in U.S. arrivals for 2025. Canadian visitation dropping 20%. Western European visits falling 6%. These projections assume things don't get worse. But every week brings new detention stories, new warnings, new route cancellations. The timing couldn't be worse. America hosts the World Cup in 2026, the 250th anniversary celebrations throughout 2026. Events requiring millions of international visitors. But infrastructure is collapsing now. Airlines are leaving now. Reputation is dying now. Industry insiders whisper about the Trump effect, but fear speaking publicly. One hotel executive, requesting anonymity, said, "We're watching